This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Time right now is 4:27 here on your Monday morning. Want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We begin with news we've been following since yesterday morning. A deadly crash on I-65 has left 3 people dead, including an infant.
Yeah, this is a really devastating story to hear about. 2 young women and a baby killed here on this crash that involved multiple vehicles, and it all happened when a semi-truck driver wasn't paying attention for a period of time, ran into stopped traffic and pinned this vehicle against a guardrail, and the semi-truck caught fire. We're going to be breaking down what happened here, and just an important reminder for all of us. It's so scary because we're all on the roads, we're on the interstates. It could easily happen to anyone if someone's not paying attention.
And we're now also looking at the charges that truck driver might be facing.
So we'll have more on that story coming up. Another thing that we are following closely for you today, it is the start of the 2020 legislative session, the Indiana General Assembly, planning out what bills they're going to be talking about this year. It's a short session, which means they're limited on time. They're going to be working against the clock to get things done here at the Indiana State House.
Yeah, so our Kelsey Anderson will be live outside the State House this morning, breaking down what we can expect to hear from lawmakers today, what they are planning on discussing, and how all those things may impact your family.
We do want to bring in our own Alyssa Donovan right now and talk about the forecast today. Alyssa, felt a little bit more like winter over the weekend finally.
Yeah, a little cooler
what can we expect this Monday?
So we're actually in good shape to start out the week. It's still going to be cold outside, but those temperatures are still a little bit above average as we head into the afternoon. We're starting cool this morning. You're going to need that warmer jacket throughout the day, and we're starting with some sunshine, but that is going to go away a little bit by this afternoon. We're going to see those clouds increase as the system approaches. The good news is the first half of the week is going to be dry, just a little bit chilly out there, and then we do have quite a bit of rain on the way starting Thursday into Friday and into Saturday. By Saturday, we could see anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall. So we do have a flooding concern as we approach the weekend, and of course we'll keep an eye on that. It is early, it's only Monday. Things could change, but just want to get that out there nice and early so you are prepared for that.
All right, Alyssa, thank you. We will be keeping an eye on that.
Yes.
All right, and finally, Call 6 Investigates has a story you will only see here on RTV6. Today, a number of GM workers in Marion thought they'd be returning to brand new jobs after the holidays. Well, that is now not the case.
Yeah, you remember this highly publicized picketing that they had, the strike for the workers there. Well, they're kind of upset with their union because they say that we took part in this and now we don't have jobs. So we're going to be breaking down what they want, what happened to them, and we're getting answers from GM, not hearing yet from the union. So we're going to be having Raphael here to break that all down for us and what this means coming up on Good Morning Indiana.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 4:30, a man is in custody after a crash killed 3 and injured a dozen others on I-65. The charges the semi-truck driver is now facing.
And today marks the beginning of a new legislative session at the State House. How new bill is hoping to address school discrimination. Plus,
a local animal organization is warning about a group of aggressive coyotes, where they were spotted and what they recommend you do to keep your pets safe. 4:30 here on your Monday morning. Back to life, back to reality. The first full week after the holidays. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick.
And I'm Lauren Casey. We got to break down what you can expect today out in the forecast as you're heading out the door. It's kind of an up and down forecast since Christmas, really. And Alyssa Donovan is here to tell us what to expect on this Monday.
Yeah, so after a very warm Christmas, we're starting to get closer to how it should be this time of year. Some cooler temperatures, unfortunately. I know a lot of people liked that warm air that we had. But things are getting back to normal today. Temperatures are in the 30s, 31 degrees right now in Indianapolis. We're at 28 in Crawfordsville, 30 in Tipton. So still a little bit above average to start, but that really doesn't matter. It feels pretty chilly outside when you step out the door. So you're going to want your warmer jacket today. We are starting with some clear skies this morning. That clear sky is going to stick with us throughout much of the day today before we see a system approaching from the west. What that system is going to do is just bring us a little bit of of cloud coverage throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours and then overnight. Besides that, not going to have a huge impact on us. The only thing with that is that we won't see as cool of a start tomorrow because we are going to see that cloud coverage overnight tonight. Light winds today as well, so we're starting with those clear skies. Temperatures will climb into the low 40s this afternoon for your Monday. We do have some rain in the forecast. All of those details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. Here is a live look right now at traffic. I-465 and I-69 up on the northeast side. Right here, traffic is moving along up to speed. No issues to slow you down. So let's take a look at your commute through downtown. This is I-65 and I-70 at the south split. Traffic here is moving along up to speed in all directions. No crashes to report right here in the downtown area on the interstates to slow you down. New this morning, an Indigo Red Line station is damaged after an early morning crash. This was the scene around 3 o'clock this morning at 18th and Meridian. Officers say they aren't sure what led up to the crash. The man driving this now crushed car was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Alcohol is not believed to be a factor in the crash. We've reached out to Indigo to see if the damage will impact pickup times at this location. We are still waiting for a response.
Indianapolis Metro Police are also investigating a deadly shooting on the west side. A man was found dead in a home on Mount Shasta North Drive near North Raceway Road around 9:45 last night. When emergency crews arrived, they found the man with an apparent gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. According to police, multiple people were inside the home when shots were fired. They aren't sure what led up to the shooting, but they do have a person of interest in custody. This morning, a truck driver is facing felony charges in connection to a deadly crash on I-65 Sunday.
2 adults and an infant were killed in that crash, and more than a dozen others were hurt, and it shut down the interstate up in Whitestown. Investigators say that Matthew Small was driving northbound on I-65 around 11 o'clock Saturday morning when he looked down to set his coffee mug down and ran into slowing traffic. Boone County officials say that he hit 8 vehicles. The semi then caught on fire and pinned a vehicle against the guardrail, killing 3 people inside. Those victims have been identified as 21-year-old Mariah Tomey, 1-year-old Hadley Tomey, and 19-year-old Kaylee Kirk. 14 other people were injured but are expected to survive. Small is now facing 3 counts of reckless homicide and is being held at the Boone County Jail.
This is the second time in just the past 6 months that we've seen a deadly crash in central Indiana involving a distracted semi-truck driver. On July 14th last year, an Indianapolis mother and her twin 18-month-old daughters died in a multi-vehicle crash on I-465 near Keystone Avenue. It all began when a truck driven by Bruce Pollard barreled into stopped traffic. Pollard told investigators he had reached for an iced tea and took his eyes off the road for a moment before realizing traffic was stopped in front of him. Pollard is set to go to trial early next month.
The time now is 4:34. Greencastle police are asking for help finding a man who's been missing for more than 2 weeks. 45-year-old Darren Huff was last seen December 21st. A candlelight vigil was held for Huff last night, and a Facebook page has been set up to help raise awareness. Anyone with any information about Huff and his whereabouts is asked to call the Putnam County Dispatch at 765-653-3155.
Today, IMPD and Fishers police are set to speak publicly about 3 people accused in a 7-day crime spree. On Friday, the Marion County prosecutor announced several charges against Richard Garrett, DeLance Hatcher, and Rishana Farrow. The alleged crimes happened in mid-October and include shootings, robberies, and murder, and it involved 18 victims. 2 of the suspects' names might sound familiar. Farrow and Garrett are also charged in connection with the death of a Fishers police canine named Harley in November. That update is scheduled for 1 this afternoon.
At 4:35, Indiana lawmakers will be back at the State House today for the start of the 2020 legislative session. Many new laws will be passed for the state of Indiana, and one bill filed last week could have an impact on schools. Democratic Senator J.D. Ford filed a bill that he says would prevent schools that discriminate against students, teachers, and staff from receiving taxpayer money. He filed it in response to Roncalli High School, which fired guidance counselor Shelley Fitzgerald after it was discovered that she was married to a woman. Ford filed a similar bill last year, but it didn't get a hearing. So what's different this year?
I'm hoping that the relationships that I've built, and this is what this business is based upon, being able to talk with my colleagues in a frank manner. I'm hoping that those conversations will help to lead to possibly, the bill getting a hearing.
Roncalli has received nearly $5 million in public money through the state's Choice Scholarship Program.
A new Indiana rule in effect this year is requiring risk assessments to be done on booked inmates with hopes to release more from jail. Criminal justice officials say the new system requires all inmates to be released on bond unless they present a substantial danger to themselves or others. It also mandates that an evidence-based risk assessment be used to make that decision. The rule was adopted by the Indiana Supreme Court in 2017, but just went into effect January 1st. Officials say the change is expected to eventually reduce overcrowding in county jails.
It is 4:37. We have a warning this morning for all pet owners. There have been several recent sightings of coyotes, and a local group that helps recover at-risk dogs is putting out a warning. Animal Containment and Education posted that they're working on a case on the north side of Brownsburg. They say it's normal to see coyotes on cameras where they work, but they've recently noticed coyotes packing up and acting aggressively around their feeding station. They say they generally don't eat the food that they put out, but they believe there's some hunger issues for the coyotes. For your pet's safety, they recommend keeping them inside and supervising them as they go out. Coyotes, a reminder for you, can jump fences, and when they run in packs, the group says they can be dangerous even to larger dogs.
Major improvements are coming to the Lawrence branch of the Indianapolis Public Library, but before that happens, the library will temporarily be closed. The closure began yesterday as crews began work on the $1.5 million renovation project. The upgrades include a new entrance and a new group study and tutoring areas. There will also be improved access to technology, charging stations, and new spaces for children, teens, and adults. Any materials placed on hold can be picked up at the Glendale branch. Construction is expected to be complete by the middle of this year.
New warnings after the U.S. launches an airstrike killing an Iranian commander. Coming up, what Iran is promising to do next and how the U.S. is responding.
And multiple people were killed and dozens injured after a tour bus crashes in Pennsylvania. Still ahead, what officials believe caused the deadly pileup. Alyssa.
And we have a quiet, mild start to our work week. We're staying dry Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but we do have some rain coming our way after that. I'll break down everything you need to know coming up.
At Ruby Tuesday.
Threats coming from both the U.S. and Iran after the U.S. killed a top Iranian commander last week. President Trump tweeting that he has more targets in mind, while those in Iran are speaking of revenge. ABC's Karina Mitchell has the latest.
Overnight, President Trump doubling down on striking cultural sites in Iran as tensions escalate in the Middle East after the killing of Iran's top military commander. Trump said the U.S. will strike back if Iran retaliates, citing 52 possible targets identified in Iran, some of them cultural sites. That comment drew criticism because targeting cultural sites could be considered a war crime under international agreements.
As you know, the Geneva Conventions outlaw attacks on cultural objects and places of worship.
We'll behave inside the system. We always have, and we always will.
In Iran, all 290 members of that country's parliament chanted, quote, "Death to America." And the general who's replacing Soleimani is vowing to, quote, "take revenge," as the country announces it will no longer abide by the uranium enrichment limits in the 2015 nuclear deal. The back-and-forth threats come after President Trump ordered the strike on Qasem Soleimani near the Baghdad airport last week. U.S. officials claim they had intelligence that he was going to carry out acts that would cost American lives.
It's impossible to overstate the significance of the attack that takes out Qasem Soleimani.
In response, Iraq's parliament, in a non-binding decision, has voted to expel U.S. troops from the country. Back here at home, Democrats are criticizing the president after he appeared to declare his tweets would serve as notification to the United States Congress that should Iran strike any U.S. person or target, the United States will quickly and fully strike back.
You know, I hate to say this, but I think it's President Trump raising his middle finger at the Congress.
Here at home, there is no specific threat, but officials warn Iran does have potential assets inside the U.S. as well as cyber warfare capabilities. Karina Mitchell, ABC News, New York.
We are continuing to follow this developing story this morning. Coming up, ABC's chief global affairs correspondent will be live from Tehran with the latest on Good Morning America.
At 4:44, 5 people were killed and 60 were hurt after a massive pileup on a Pennsylvania highway. The crash happened on Sunday morning on a downhill curve of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Police say that a tour bus lost control and hit an embankment. 4 other vehicles, including a UPS and FedEx truck, were traveling behind the bus and crashed into it. Officials say weather may have been a factor in that crash.
There was some precipitation that was coming down, and I'm sure that could have played a factor, but we're so early in our investigation right now that it's hard to try and pinpoint anything specific.
The tour bus was traveling from New Jersey to Cincinnati. It's unclear if they were headed to a specific event. This morning, officials say many remain hospitalized.
One of 2 escaped inmates from a Mississippi prison rocked by violence is now in custody. The Mississippi Department of Corrections tweeted yesterday that 42-year-old David May was tracked down and arrested. He and 27-year-old Dillian Williams were discovered missing from the state penitentiary at Parchman Saturday. May is serving a life sentence for 2 aggravated assault convictions. Williams is serving 40 years for burglary and aggravated assault. Detention facilities across the state are still on lockdown following a week of violence resulting in 5 inmate deaths. It is unclear if the violence is related to May and Williams' disappearance.
Actress Lori Loughlin has reportedly hired a prison consultant to tell her what life may be like if she spends time behind bars. Reports say the 55-year-old is considering every contingency ahead of her day in court. Loughlin and her husband are accused of paying $500,000 to help get their daughters into the University of Southern California. She has pleaded not guilty to multiple money laundering and fraud charges. If convicted, Loughlin can face up to 45 years in prison.
A crew of California firefighters are heading to Australia to help battle the country's deadly wildfires. A group of 20 veteran firefighters based in Los Angeles are scheduled to depart today. The fires have killed at least 23 people and burnt millions of acres in Australia. The spread is also devastating the animal population. Reports of almost 500 million animals have been killed and wiping out around 1/3 of the koala population. Here at home, we have a quiet day to start off our Monday, Alyssa.
That's right. We're staying quiet and dry through about midweek, and then we do have some rain moving in Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. We're expecting so much rain that we do have some flooding concerns in the forecast, especially by Saturday. That's when we are expecting the heaviest rainfall at this point. Temperatures starting in the 30s across the area this morning, mostly clear skies across the area. 31 in Indianapolis, 30 in Kokomo, 34 in Bloomington. Those winds out of the northwest right now about 15 miles per hour, so that's helping push in some of that cooler air from the north, but we are going to see those winds shift throughout the day to become a little bit more southerly, which will help push in some warmer air as we head into the afternoon. Right now we have those clear skies. Those have really helped us cool down overnight, which is why we are starting with those temperatures right close to freezing this morning. As we head through the day, we're going to see mostly clear skies with that high pressure in control. Temperatures by the noon hour just barely reaching the 40s across the area. Many of us will stay in the 30s till the noon hour. We'll continue to see sunshine this afternoon as well before we start to see more cloud coverage build in later in the afternoon and into the evening hour. That's just from one system that's moving across the area. Not expecting any rainfall or precipitation from this, just a little bit more cloud coverage. What that cloud coverage will do is overnight, it will insulate us a little bit, so by tomorrow morning shouldn't be as chilly to start. Highs today will get into the low 40s. Next, we're going to stay dry for your Tuesday before we see cooler air move in for Wednesday. So Wednesday's going to be a colder day, and that's just ahead of a system that's going to bring us quite a bit of moisture over the next several days. So we're going to see 2 low pressure systems come in as we head towards the tail of our work week. By Thursday, our first one comes in, and then we see another one moving in on Saturday. That second one is the one that's expecting to bring us 2 to 4 inches of rainfall, which is why we do have that potential flooding concern in the forecast. Of course, we'll keep an eye on the track of that system and where it's supposed to hit and keep you informed as it gets closer to that day. Temperatures today starting in the 30s. Some areas are up in just into the upper 20s. Clear and chilly to start. Those temperatures will climb into the low 40s this afternoon. We have light winds. Those will shift out of the west-southwest, which will warm us up just a little bit as we head into the afternoon. It's not going to be a warm warm day by any means, but it is going to be a little bit above average. Staying in the 40s for your Tuesday, and then we do have a cooler Wednesday on tap before we see all that rain in the forecast Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We also have those temperatures climbing into the 60s.
All right, Alyssa, thanks so much. As you're heading out on the roads this morning, want to give you a look at your drive here over on the west side, I-465. This is near Rockville Road. Traffic is moving along up to speed in that direction. No major issues to slow you down. Let's take a look, though, at our Traffic Now map. Planning out your commute, heading in from the northwest side, a 17-minute drive southbound on I-65 right now from I-865 in the Dogleg to I-70 at the North Split. No delays there. Let's take a turn up to the north side, I-465 here in Keystone Avenue. Traffic is moving along just fine, as you can see. We'll continue to keep our eyes on the roads, and we'll keep you updated on any delays.
A Pennsylvania Walmart may be dealing with an infestation of bed bugs after someone put them in a fitting room. Police in Edinburgh, Pennsylvania say someone using the men's fitting room left a pill bottle with the live parasites inside a coat pocket that was for sale. After a health inspection, another bottle was found with dead bed bugs, and more were seen crawling around the men's changing rooms. Police are investigating why someone would do this.
Boeing says it may have found another design flaw with its 737 MAX plane. As part of the FAA audit last month, Boeing reported possible issues with the plane's wiring. That's according to a report from the New York Times. The company says it's looking into whether it could cause a short circuit that could lead to a crash. It's unclear right now if this will extend the grounding of the 737. A software flaw is what took the planes off the runway back in March.
Before winners like Russell Crowe and Patricia Arquette received their big Golden Globe Awards, they were served a different kind of meal at the event this year. The pre-show banquet was completely plant-based and no animal products were served. The menu included chilled golden beet soup with shaved candy-striped beets and pistachios. There were also faux scallops made from mushrooms and risotto. The president of the Golden Globes says the decision was made to raise awareness about food consumption and the climate crisis. Sounds good to me.
Well, police officers give a big gift to a sick toddler in Arizona. After the break, what they did to give her a taste of the winter fun that she was missing out on.
There's a lot of stress not knowing where you're going to get your next paycheck.
Only on RTV6, workers expecting better pay and benefits will have no place to clock in. Why they're being kept from jobs they were hoping to start today. Rafael Sanchez is working on this story. You'll see at 6 a.m. right here on Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back.
Sponsored by Citizens Energy Group.
Welcome back. The time right now is 4:55. Here's a live look in the downtown area. I-65 and I-70 at the North Split. A few headlights making their way across your screen right now. Traffic through downtown is traveling up to speed.
Police in Arizona stepped up in a big way this week to help a sick toddler experience snow this winter. 2-year-old Quinn Walker was born without a left side of her heart, and a trip to see the snow in the mountains would be too hard for her. She's scheduled to have heart surgery and may need a transplant. So when her mom posted her disappointment on Facebook, the Casa Grande police decided to bring the snow to her. They dumped 5 tons of snow in her driveway.
Priceless. It's just overwhelming. So it's just to see her come out and have a smile and play in the snow and play with her brothers.
They helped her make a snowman, and she even threw some snowballs. The officers also brought her a brand new teddy bear.
Oh, and she's so adorable.
Are those kids playing in the snow in socks? I think that's what we just saw there. I think that's what you can do in Arizona.
Right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, here, you are going to want to bundle the kids up a bit as they head out to the bus this morning.
Yeah, so a little bit of a chilly start today. Those temperatures in the upper 20s and low 30s, really close to where we should be this time of year. We've been spoiled the past couple weeks with these warmer temperatures. Today we'll climb into the low 40s this afternoon. We're going to start sunny and we'll stay sunny for most of the day, but then those clouds increase later this afternoon, overnight, and into our Tuesday morning before we see sunshine Tuesday afternoon. 40s Tuesday as well, back into the 30s Wednesday before we see quite a bit of rain Thursday, Friday, and into your Saturday.